The drivers now get ready into the tram lines. Are we ready? Are we ready? The pre-final for DD2 and Masters is underway here on day 2. And a good start from Enzo Boll at the front end of the field. He leads them into turn 2 for the opening tour. Side by side for 4th position. And Edward Matthews nearly comes a bit unstuck through turn 3, trying to get through on the inside of Nicolas Picot. And that was for 4th position. He's got Nikolaj Christiansen, the hard-charging DD2 Masters driver from Denmark, right with him. But Enzo Boll is going to lead the field across the line to complete the opening lap. Dennis Thum now up 5 positions. Change for 2nd. Victor Frostbay slingshots past Carl Gustav Borgard, who instantly returns the favour through turn 2. And Nicolas Picot is right with them. Ed Matthews in 5th, Nikolaj Christiansen. And looks like, Maxime Dirix has made his way up to 8th position as Tom Bracken has gotten past him. Mats Johan Overhoff and Francis Jules Cousin round out the top 10. Yori Klebo has dropped all the way down to the back end of the field behind Tony Hogg. Lucas Pernaut's not had a great start either. He started 15th, he's now 20th. And now a change again between the two Danes. As Carl Gustav Borgard says to... Well, it's Victor Frostbait signalling to Carl Gustav Borgard, come on, man, stop fighting me. Let's go after the leader. They keep on fighting. Enzo Boll would extend his advantage. And in addition to that, both Nicolas Picot and Edward Matthews will close on in. Then you got the train behind, which is being led now by Tom Bracken. He's sprinted away from Nikolaj Christiansen, having overtaken the 508 from Denmark, who's now got Maxime Dirix right with him, along with Mats Johan Overhoff. Some great moves up the order by Kane Cherian from the UAE. Hails from the same origination as Karl Kumaran. So the Indian Express is in town. Three minutes completed, 10 to go. Enzo Boll's lead after 3 laps was just under 0.7 of a second. And now Victor Frostbay has got to start working a little bit harder. Still might be only 9 minutes 40 plus an additional lap to go to the end of the race, but he'll want to do something. Meanwhile, Ed Matthews has got pressure from behind, courtesy of Tom Bracken in the 418. Maxime Dirix still ahead of Mats Johan Overhoff in their battle. That's for 8th. Ed Matthews keeps it pinned to the inside line of turn number 1 to stay ahead of Tom Bracken. But now Ed Matthews runs a little bit wide into turn 3. Bracken gets through immediately. And Enzo Boll has the fastest lap of the race so far. Yuri Klebo, unfortunately, out on the opening lap. Didn't even park the cart, I'm afraid, so he's out. We're down to 22 runners and riders. Fastest lap of the race still in the hands of Enzo Boll, 55.068 seconds. Victor Frostbay in 2nd position as we come around to complete lap 5. Victor Frostbay has got that gap down to just under 7.5 of a second. As now Nikolaj Christiansen is going to look for the move up the inside of Ed Matthews. Matthews sweeps. Matthews' characteristic of sweeping wide into turn 3 leaves the door open on the inside for others to get through, and that's exactly what Nikolai Christensen has done. So Christensen up to 6th overall, and there's Tom Bracken closing in on Nicolas Picot, which means that we could have a battle for the DD2 Masters class lead out on track. So across the line they go to complete lap number 6. Bracken now up the inside of Picot. And Picot just keeping with Bracken as they exit out of turn number 2, through into turn 3. And now Picot looks over his shoulder and sees that Nikolai Christensen is moving forward in his general direction. And now the train behind Ed Matthews is starting to increase in terms of participants. Kane Cherian, who's rounding out the top 11, has got Greece's Ilias Kaliakmanis not too far behind. Uno Mas Nicolas Guillaume in 13th, ahead of Michael Becker and Luca Filipponi. Carl Clebot has is now in 19th position, but Dennis Toom up to 16th. Here comes the move from Maxime Dirix up through into turn 3. I don't think he got the job done. Did the 499. And there is Tony Hogg at the back end of the field. Maxime Dirix did not get through on Ed Matthews for 7th position, but he's got that €64,000 question to be answered. Do I attack or do I defend? Because he's got Mats Johan Overhoff in his first full season of DD2 competition right behind him. Lennart Schreiber looks to be battling away with Dominic Hummels for what is 20th position. And that's for 8th in DD2 Masters. Jules Cousin, who might be rounding out the top 10 at the moment, has got Kane Cherian not too far behind him either, as they went through the right-hand sweeper at turn number 5. Four minutes and 40 still to go, and Nikolai Christensen is waiting for his chance to put one past Nicolas Picot. This is for 5th overall, but more importantly, it is the Masters class lead. Through into the 90 left at turn 4 they go. Now into the right-hand sweeper at 5 before the hard braking zone for the turn 6 right-hand hairpin, as there goes Enzo Bol back up the inside of Victor Frostbay. There had been a change for the lead after the completion of the previous lap. And now Carl Gustav Borgard makes it. 3 is a crowd right now at the front end. So a trio of hard-charging drivers. And Carl Gustav Borgard was looking up the inside through the final right-hander on Victor Frostbay to try and wind up the momentum. And now they come through into the left-hander here at turn number 3. Victor Frostbay still defends. Carl Gustav Borgard waiting in the wings to see if he can get through on his teammate and countryman. And Nikolai Christensen is making Nicolas Picot work for that class lead in DD2 Masters. And what's more, 5th position overall. Fastest lap of the race so far on lap number 8 was Victor Frostbay, 54.833. Enzo Bold continues to lead with just under 3 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap to go. Top 3 covered by just under 6/10. Carl Gustav Borgard has yet to pull the trigger, has yet to decide so. But it might be towards the tail end of the race, the last few moments. There's Tom Bracken. He's also trying to close in on them. And what's more, Tom Bracken has the fastest lap. 54.753 seconds for the 418 representing Belgium. So that 3-way scrap for the race lead is soon to be a 4-way scrap. Edward Matthews is still having to fight at the moment. He's got still Maxim Dirks and Mats-Johan Overhoff behind him. That's 7th, 8th and 9th. Jules Cousin is 1.1 seconds off of them in 10th position. But Enzo Bowles' lead has unfortunately not given him the opportunity to get away from those behind, because Victor Frostbay and Carl Gustav Borgard have been very comparable on pace. Ed Matthews has now gotten away from the 2 behind, which means that there has been a slight reversal. Mats-Johan Overhoff gets past Maxim Dirks for 8th position. Nikolai Christensen still trying to see if he can make a pass on Nicolas Picot. So we're coming down to the final few moments. After this, we'll have 2 laps to go as the leaders with 40 seconds on the timer make their way through the sweeper at turn number 5. Picot making Nikolai Christensen work for this class win. We are getting very, very close to the wire. 15 seconds on the timer. They just might get another couple of laps in if we're lucky. Across the line, 7 seconds to go. So we have 2 more laps remaining as the timer strikes 0 now. 2 laps to go, including this one. And Enzo Boll has been keeping a firm grasp on the race lead all the way through from when we started just over 13 minutes ago. But Victor Frostbay last time around was only 0.13 of a second behind. Carl Gustav Borgard made it just under 7/10, completing the top 3. Mats-Johan Overhoff looking to try and get one past on Ed Matthews. That's easier said than done. Maxim Dirks is in the tow. We're on to, well, it's showing final lap at the moment, as we are now onto it. Our race leaders make their way through the right-hand sweep at turn number 5. But Enzo Boll has commanded proceedings from the front end of the field. He's just a handful of corners away to taking a victory here in the pre-final on day 2 for DD2 overall. Out of the final corner, through the chicane, it's a win for the Netherlands. Enzo Boll from SP Motorsport, who takes the checkered first ahead of Victor Frostbay, Carl Gustav Borgard, Tom Bracken and Nicolas Picot rounding out the top 5. And Picot still did take the race victory just by 97 thousandths of a second in DD2 Masters. Edward Matthews finishing 7th, ahead of Mats Johan Overhoff, Maxime Dirix and Jules Cousin. Kane Cherian in 11th, ahead of Lucas Bernard. Nicolas Guillaume Uno Mas finished 13th, ahead of Michael Becker, with Ilias Kaliakmanis in 15th. Dennis Thum to 16th, ahead of Luca Filipponi, Christophe Capitan, Karl Klebo, Lennart Schreiber, Dominic Hummels, and Tony Hogg, with Yori Klebo unfortunately retiring before the end of lap number 1.